Hey everyone, Ryan from Ebike Escape, and in this video we're going to be reviewing this custom dual motor electric bike company electric bike. So let's get into it. Before we get into the walk around of this awesome electric bike, if you are looking to purchase an electric bike from Electric Bike Company, check out the code in the description below. Not only will you save $50, but you'll also get a free e-bike alarm. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. And it also helps support Ebike Escape, so appreciate the support. We'll also have some other links down in the description as well, our popular electric bike accessories list, top e-bike brands page, and finally our electric bike discounts code page where we track all the deals on the electric bike brands that we follow. With that, let's get into the walk around of this awesome electric bike. You can see that we went a little bit crazy with the colors. Of course, that's something that's very unique about Electric Bike Company. Because their bikes are all assembled in the United States, they have their own custom paint shop. You can customize any of their models to your liking. It's important to note that this bike was actually known as the Model D, which they no longer offer because they decided to switch things up a little bit. Instead of offering just one dual motor electric bike, they decided to actually offer dual motors in all of their models except for the Model Y. So this bike is most similar to a Model R, but even if you're not looking to purchase a Model R, there are a few reasons this video might be helpful. Of course, if you're considering the dual motors on any of the models. Also just getting a look at the quality that comes with the Electric Bike Company electric bikes. And we also outfitted this bike with some of the accessories and some of the components that are optional. Of course, also the customized paint job. But let's actually start here in the front of the bike with this dual motor electric bike. We have an MX US 500 watt nominal 1000 watt peak motor, both front and rear. Now, not surprisingly, this is a bolt-on axle. And we have Tektro branded 180 millimeter rotors with matching hydraulic calipers, Tektro. I really like the stopping power, and of course it's always nice to see the name brand components on these electric bikes. And of course with the dual motors you want that increased stopping power. For tires, we have 26 by 3 inch tires, definitely set up more for street riding, though to be honest I have taken these off-road a little bit. They are a little bit wider, so they do add some comfort. They are Electric Bike Company branded, so not actually sure who manufactures these. And as I called out in my Model E review, you can just tell that these components that they use, they lace their own wheels, and you can just tell they are of higher quality. You can see we have an Electric Bike Company sticker down there. And this, of course, is something that sets Electric Bike Company apart. And of course, to add to the comfort on this electric bike, they do have a front suspension preload adjustment on the left. You can see there's some Electric Bike Company branding. And then tucked underneath here on the basket, we do have a adjustment for lockout. And it does have multiple clicks. I'll go ahead and push on that front suspension so you can get an idea of what to expect. Needless to say, this is one of the most comfortable electric bikes, not only because you ride in a more upright riding position, but also the wider tires, the front suspension, and of course the saddle, which I'll show you here in a little bit. And of course, I wanted to call out everything you can customize color-wise. So you can see we opted for the orange fork. These are really the Ebike Escape colors. We have this painted plastic fender in the front here. And then of course we have this two-toned basket. The actual basket itself is painted yellow, and then we went orange on the outside. Very sturdy front baskets. These are just super high quality. Again, I just continue to be impressed with Electric Bike Company. You can see where it mounts right there. And on the front of the bike, when you get a front basket, you also get the integrated light on the front of the basket. You also get a nice plate here. Electric Bike Company has been around since 2014. Now, I said I would call out some of the differences between this bike and what they're currently offering with their dual motor bikes, again, in all of the models except for the Model Y. This is actually an 18 amp hour battery, but what they've done with the other models is you get a 9 amp hour battery and a 12 amp hour battery. So you get one in the basket and then you get one in the down tube. And they're actually two completely different systems with two different throttles. So something that's a little bit different about what was once the Model D. Let's move on to the cockpit. I always like highlighting the cable management. Now, I really think these Electric Bike Company electric bikes look much better with the front basket attached because they do have the frame kind of stick out here and squared off, so the cables have somewhere to go, which of course is nice. But I think the front baskets on their bikes really complete the look, and they have this nice cable management here, again for the Tektro Dorado hydraulic disc brakes with motor cutoffs. That's going to instantly stop the motors as soon as you hit them. We have Electric Bike Company customized grips here. Really like that. Again, just adds to the aesthetics of this electric bike. Left-hand thumb throttle on this bike. Again, if you get the other dual motor options, you'll actually get two throttles. Controls over here on the left. And you'll note I have my cell phone holder. This does not come with the bike. This is the Night Eyes Raptor on our electric bike accessories list. I also opted to install this bell from Pro Bike Tool. I just think if you're buying this electric bike, you almost have to have a bell. Before we jump into the screen, let's talk about the shifter. So you can actually order some of their electric bikes in single speeds, or you can get the 7-speed Shimano shifter. In my first-person riding footage, I talk a little bit more about the gearing of this particular bike. This is an entry-level component from Shimano, though of course it is nice that they went with a name brand. And they do use these kind of chrome painted shifters on their bikes, which I think also, again, fits with the aesthetics on the rest of the bike. Of course, we have the swept-back handlebars. Electric Bike Company is just known for their California cruiser electric bikes, super comfortable to ride. Let's go ahead and turn on this display. So we have battery capacity in the top left-hand corner with bars, and then we actually have temperature in the top right-hand corner. Nice day here in Wisconsin. Current speed, front and center, miles per hour. And then we have some distance, an odometer, and time. And you can scroll through some settings by hitting the center button here. So we have the average speed, max speed, and back to current speed. In the bottom left-hand corner, we have pedal assist, 0 through 5. Now, something to note with Electric Bike Company is they default to pedal assist being off. Not sure if you can see that on the camera, but in order to allow the pedal assist to actually work, right now only throttle is engaged, you do need to hold down the pedal assist button, and then the pedal assist off goes away, and now you can pedal this bike like you would any other electric bike with pedal assist. I actually wish they changed that setting, just something to be aware of with the Electric Bike Company electric bikes. With the swept-back handlebars, we have this really nice adjustable stem. Of course, that's going to allow you to really customize the feel of this electric bike. You could put them a little bit further forward, or you can have them higher like I have here, so you're riding in a very upright riding position. Now, of course, on this bike, they reused the Model R frame, and so while you will get a frame battery on the dual motor electric bikes if you're looking at them, this is actually just a plate here. It hides all of the electronics, but that's usually where that other battery will go. And with the basket-mounted battery, there is a charge port here. And at least on the Model D, they have an on and off switch up front as well. Wanted to show the cable running to that front motor. Electric Bike Company uses these nice and sturdy mounts to hold that cable instead of just zip tying it to the fork. I really appreciate that. Again, just attention to detail throughout the bike. Now with the Model R, we get this really nice step-through frame. I actually think this is probably my favorite model that they offer, at least frame-wise, though I'm very curious about the newly announced Model F. That's, of course, their folding electric bike. Let me know in the comments below if you want me to review that one. Electric Bike Company bikes come with these flat pedals that have some rubber grip. Great for cruiser riding if you wanted something that dug into your shoes a little bit more, or perhaps a wider platform. You can upgrade to some other pedals, or maybe you just want a cool color. You can customize that way as well. Something to note on their bikes, they locate the kickstand right in the middle of the frame, and they say that's for stability. And in my opinion, I think that's actually pretty smart, given that you can have a battery in the basket. You perhaps are putting a bunch of groceries in here or anything else you're carrying. So it's actually probably a good idea for them to have the kickstand, though it will come in contact with the pedals. On most electric bikes, we see the kickstand located towards the rear. And there is also a rear basket accessory, which I'll show you here in just a little bit. So just another reason that it might make sense to have that kickstand in the center so you don't have the bike tipping over. I'll go ahead and actually turn on the lights. I'm not sure how visible they will be during the daylight, but there's a look at the front light. And then they have two sets of rear lights right here, as well as really nicely integrated into the rack. Super cool. Haven't seen this before on any other electric bike that I've reviewed. I'll go ahead and show you the alarm. Again, if you use my code in the description, you'll get this free alarm installed, as well as $50 off your order. I'll go ahead and lock it here. And so if I move the bike around, I'll get a warning. And then eventually, super loud alarm, awesome feature on this electric bike. Of course, if you're buying an electric bike, it's always smart to secure it. So while there are some other alarms you can buy, I really love the integrated ones from Electric Bike Company. We have some other branding here from Electric Bike Company, and 100% designed and built in the United States with global materials. Again, something that sets Electric Bike Company apart. You can see we went with this really nice green color to fit the Ebike Escape logo. Here's a good look at those rear hydraulic brakes, as well as the nutted rear axle. Again, we went with the yellow fender here. These are just plastic fenders, and they do differ depending on the model. I will say when I'm riding this on some rougher terrain, it does bounce around a little bit, so it's just something to be aware of. And we have this really nice orange painted rear rack, and this is actually a MIK or MIK rear rack, and it's something that Electric Bike Company is using because it works with this basket right here. This is a Basil branded basket, and so you can put a mount on the bottom here, and it simply clicks into place. I'll go ahead and show you how that works. All right, so I'll put this end in first, and then simply push down on the rear, and this basket is not going anywhere. So while you could zip tie a basket, I really like that Electric Bike Company is using the special rack, and then you can buy the basket. And then it does come with this little tool here to more easily remove the basket from the rear rack. Simply push that in here and lift up on the rack. And there you go, quick release rear basket. All right, let's move on to the rear of the bike. So we have the second 500 watt, 1000 watt peak motor from MX US. And I did opt for the rear derailleur on here, Shimano Altus. And I talk a little bit more about the gearing in the first person riding footage. In the rear here with the gears, we have 14 to 28 teeth. And up front, we have a massive 58 tooth front chainring. That of course gives you much more ability to pedal at higher speeds. Really like that. And it looks like a super high quality front chainring as well. Pretty much unmatched from anything else I've seen from affordable electric bike brands. And this is using a cadence sensor for pedal assist. And you can see we have the cable running here into the right side of the bike. And of course we have the shifter cable here as well. And really all these cables are tucked really nicely into the frame. I can show you underneath the frame here where they come out of the bottom of what I'll call the down tube. I think this wins as the most comfortable stock electric bike seat that I've personally received. Just a huge fan of these. Again, This is a cruiser e-bike. You want to be comfortable. I have to imagine most people are not going to want to replace this with anything else. And of course, it fits the look of this electric bike. And you can get black as well. Again, just so many customizations on these bikes if you choose. Of course, things like the premium paint job do add additional cost. To round out the comfort on this electric bike, I did ask for the suspension seat post, which is what you see here. Now, I am a big fan of the SR Suntour NCX suspension seat post. I really wanted to test this one out to see what I thought. And to be honest with you, I was pleasantly surprised. It's actually not too bad. Definitely can feel the extra comfort. And of course, it's really nice because it comes installed on the bike when you receive it. So if someone was asking me about whether they should upgrade to this suspension seat post, I say go for it. Of course, you can opt for the other ones that we recommend on our electric bike accessories list. So that concludes the walk around of what I'm calling our dual motor Model R. But what many people want to know is how these dual motors perform. So let's get into the first person riding footage. All right, first person riding footage on the Model D, really a Model R with dual motors. And this bike, I have to say, is just so comfortable to ride around. Just love it. I kind of view this as a bit of a, I think in the car industry, you can have like a sleeper car that's actually really fast. And that's kind of how I view this bike. It's a cruiser, but it's got some pickup and go. So we'll be testing out what this can do with throttle only. Now, of course, if you are buying a electric bike company model with the dual motors, you will get 2 throttles. So this one's just a little bit different. So we are going to be using both motors throughout. And just a note, the pedal assist level does coincide with how much power you're getting from the motor. So just went ahead and turned it up to pedal assist 5. Got the speedometer app by Cool Nix here. This is sold as a class 2 electric bike, I guess, though it's a little bit different because it does have 2 motors. So just something to keep in mind regulation wise. All right, throttle only, 3, 2, 1, go. 11, 14, 17, and there's 20 miles an hour. Now, as I said, the pedal assist levels do coincide with how much power. So in pedal assist 1, hitting the throttle, going a nice and leisurely speed of 10 miles an hour. We'll go ahead and go into pedal assist 2, going about 12 miles an hour. Pedal assist 3, up to 15 miles an hour, looks like. And pedal assist 4 with throttle only. And it looks like 17 or so miles an hour. And we already know what pedal assist 5 is going to give us. All right, now I'm actually going to turn off the pedal assist. Now, one of the nice things is when I did customize this bike is I did opt for that shifter. And so if you happen to run out of battery or something goes wrong, hopefully that doesn't happen. A lot of people always ask me, can e-bikes be pedaled with no assist? And I'm in 3rd gear here, and I would say it's a leisurely cadence. I could do this for quite some time, going about 10 miles an hour. Again, the biggest challenge is going to be the hills, which is common on most electric bikes. All right, now let's actually go into pedal assist 1, and I'm actually going to shift all the way down into 1st gear, pedal assist 1. We'll see what this bike can do in the various pedal assist levels. I feel like even with both motors, pedal assist 1 feels nice and easy. 10 miles an hour. I could maybe shift up to 2nd gear if I wanted to. It's a little bit more difficult there, so it depends how much exercise you want to get, how much effort you want to put in. Let's go ahead and go into pedal assist 2. Feel the motor kick in a little bit there. Now again, when you're starting in pedal assist 5, it's going to feel like the motors really lurch you a lot more forward compared to starting off in pedal assist 1 or 2. Going about 13 miles an hour now. I feel pretty comfortable in 2nd gear. Let's go to 3rd gear. So that is one nice thing. If you're looking at the bikes that also come with single speeds, you might want to consider getting one with gears. Let's go ahead and go into pedal assist 3. Definitely feel the motor a little bit more there. I think we're going to have to go into 4th gear. I like having a little bit of resistance. That looks like 15, 16 miles an hour or so. All right, and let's go ahead and go into pedal assist 4. Again, feel that motor kick on a little bit more. Gonna have to shift up 5th gear here. Still feels pretty good, 17 miles an hour, 18 miles an hour. And then my assumption is pedal assist 5 is going to give us the full power. And yeah, definitely, there's a huge jump from pedal assist 4 to pedal assist 5. I'm actually gonna have to shift all the way up here. And we'll stop and go into pedal assist 5, or leave it in pedal assist 5, I should say, on this straightaway. All right, here we go. Just starting in pedal assist 5. Definitely feel both motors taking off, 18 miles an hour. And we're hitting 24, 25 miles an hour. And what is nice, gearing-wise, I'm actually able to provide some effort still, which is nice. So the gearing is actually pretty good for a bike that goes 24 miles an hour. Sometimes when bikes get into the mid-20s, you really start what we like to call ghost pedaling. Many people call it that. And that's where you're just spinning the pedals, but not able to provide any effort of your own. So if you want to cruise on this bike at higher speeds, it's definitely possible. Looks like 24 miles per hour. And again, that throttle cuts off after 20. So while it doesn't really look like a bike that goes very fast, definitely does, especially when you're hitting that throttle in pedal assist 5, definitely on loose ground. I've hit the throttle and the front tire can spin out a little bit, so you want to be careful. All right, that's how the bike does on flat ground. Let's see how this bike does on our hill climb test. Okay, here we go at the hill climb test. This is the hill we test out all of the electric bikes that we review, so you can compare and contrast. We'll put a picture on the screen of the hill because the GoPro makes it look so much smaller than it is. We'll also put the specs of the hill up there. And I imagine a lot of people, while very curious, I mean, I'm personally curious how this bike is going to perform up this hill. If you want to know how these MX US motors perform, be sure to check out our Model E review. So that has a single rear motor. So that'll give you an idea of just how powerful just one of the motors is. All right, with that, here we go. Starting the test, throttle only. Again, in pedal assist 5 here. So we're getting all the power of the motor. Hitting that 20 miles per hour before we get to the hill. And I imagine these motors are just going to have no problem going up this hill. Still at 20. There's 19 for just a second. Now the bike does weigh a little bit more with that front motor, but it is just tackling this hill. I think I saw 17 miles per hour just for a second, but we're at 18. And I imagine a lot of people considering this bike are really buying it for, well, the fun factor for one, but also the ability to tackle hills with no problem. Maybe if you just really want that fast acceleration, maybe you're a little bit of a heavier rider and you just want something that's super capable. And of course, the current models in dual motors will allow you to use one or the other with the 2-throttle system. So yeah, no problem on this bike. Super impressive. But I always recommend pedaling because, of course, it's nice to get a little workout, and a little bit of effort goes a long way going up hills. So I'm going to head back down the hill and go up while pedaling. Okay, hill climb test while pedaling. I'm just gonna use the throttle just for a second just to get started so I can shift down. And we're gonna start the hill climb test in pedal assist 1 though. I don't think that's gonna be enough power. And I just wanna note, coming down this hill, we hit 31 miles an hour, it looks like, and the brakes had no problem. All right, hill's really starting now, and even in first gear here, this is a challenge. I'm gonna go ahead and go into pedal assist level 2 here, and definitely going to stay in first gear here. Still going about 8. I could go up this hill like this, but I'm putting in quite a bit of effort. Of course, I could slow my cadence, because as long as the cadence sensor is sensing that you are pedaling, it's gonna kick the motors on. But I'm only going 4 miles an hour. Let's go ahead and go into pedal assist level 3 here. A little bit easier there. 7 miles an hour, still in first gear. Let's go ahead and go into pedal assist 4. 8 miles an hour, definitely getting a lot easier. I could maybe shift up here, second gear, third gear, 10 miles an hour. But I think if this was a regular hill that I went up perhaps for commuting, I would probably go up pedal assist 5, get the full power of those dual motors. I mean, why else would you be buying this bike? Shifting up 4th, 5th gear. Again, we know this bike just cruises up the hill. 7th gear, still providing some effort, of course. 19 miles an hour. But pedaling definitely is going to conserve the battery a little bit. So yeah, no problem with this hill. Super impressed. Really, any dual motor electric bike. I've reviewed a handful now. We've reviewed the Model D, most recently the Defender S by Uniro, their older dual motor bike, and of course this beautiful bike. All right, with that, let's get into the third person riding footage, and I'll give you my concluding thoughts on this electric bike company dual motor electric bike. So unfortunately, I can't definitively say when or if electric bike company will offer a dual motor e-bike, as the company has stepped back on offering this as a model on their website. So for now, we'll call it a prototype, and a fun one at that. Still, there are some conclusions we can draw. The Model R, the frame used on this bike, matches the quality we found on their Model E, which we also reviewed. Basically, if you buy an electric bike company e-bike, you'll be pleasantly surprised with the quality of their built in the USA e-bikes. It makes me excited to review more of the models from EBC. The Model E happens to be their most affordable model. The Model R in its base configuration comes in at $23.99 and includes a front suspension, whereas the Model E comes in at $17.99. These frame styles are actually my favorite of the EBC lineup, though they certainly have something for everyone with their wide lineup. If you want a cruiser e-bike, you'd be making a mistake if you didn't at least look at their offerings. The compare page on their website is a great starting place. Something to pay close attention to is most, if not all, of the electric bike company bikes come with a 12 amp hour battery, so depending on how long of rides you plan to go on, this is one area where you might want to upgrade, though it does come at a cost. Again, you can save $50 by using our code in the description and also get a free e-bike alarm, a useful accessory that simply isn't an option direct from many e-bike brands. Keep in mind that shipping is not included with electric bike company e-bikes and will run you from $100 to $250 based somewhat on how far you live from their California factory. Though the upside of paying for shipping is that your bike arrives via freight in pristine condition. They also come virtually ready to go as you roll them off the skid. Simple handlebar adjustments are all that is needed. So there you have it, the Ebike Escape Mobile, a fun bike that we've already been loving a lot this summer. The front basket has come in handy, and while I understand our color choice might prompt you to write me a comment in the comment section below, just know that you can go on their website and customize your own electric bike to your liking. A side benefit is that car traffic notices us much more on the roadway when we're riding this e-bike. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.